Today we will finish out the eyes by adding eyelashes and eyebrows. And in doing so, I would like you to turn to page 61 in your sketchbooks. Now, before we actually start in our sketchbooks, I want to tell you what not to do. So again, don't do this, but just simply watch. In doing eyelashes, what I do not want you to do is come in here at the top of your eye like this, and knowing that the bottom are a little shorter like this. What you don't want to be able to do is count one by one each eyelash. That doesn't look natural. So to learn how to do some natural looking eyelashes, this is a 4-step method. Not simple, not super difficult, actually pretty quickly done. And we are going to do a traditional set of eyelashes, and then we'll do a set of eyelashes that I call more the glamour lash or the sweeping eyelashes. So to get started, at the bottom of page 61, divide that little tiny space into 4. I'm going to enlarge it now so that you can see mine larger, but know that I'm drawing on the bottom of sketchbook page 61. To get started, I'd like you to set up your eyes. The eyes don't need to be detailed. In fact, what I'd like you to do is in this quadrant, I'm simply going to have you do an eyelid, a little tear duct, quickly like that. That would be a right eye, and then I'd like you to also do a left eye, the tear duct, the eyelid, the bottom, and then put the actual eyelid, which is that little skin fold above the eye. So again, just quickly put in, I'm going to do another. I'm leaving space up here because we want space for the eyebrows and the eyelashes. So again, do another very quick and an eyebrow, or an eyelid, I should say. Notice, pretty crudely, quickly drawn. And you may say, well, why are you putting the eyelid in? Because the eyelashes actually lay over top this eyelid. So we want to put that in first because it's really difficult to put it in after the fact. Starting with our eyelashes, step 1 is going to be render in a specific direction. What I want you to realize is that at the top of the eye, the direction tends to be more straight up and down. Over to this side of the eye, the right side of the eye, they tend to be a little shorter and swing. And so you don't need to draw this here, but up here they tend to go up and down. Here they tend to be a little shorter and swing toward the middle. And here, a little shorter and swing toward the middle. That's the direction in which you will draw. So with your pencil in a rendering fashion, and don't be afraid to move your book around. It works better for me that way. But what I would like you to do is just simply render And as I slightly turn my book, my lashes get a little shorter. I'm going to come back to the middle. My lashes get a little shorter. And the curvature goes back to the middle. So that's step one. Step two then is to blend with your blender stick. So take your dirty blender stick, and this is where you're thickening up the base here so it doesn't look as though you can count your eyelashes one by one. So I thicken up with my blender stick. Step three now is to take your pencil point and wispily, very wispy, put in what I call some individual hairs. And again, they're shorter to the side here. They tend to be longer up here at the top and get shorter at the side. The last step then is to take your pencil eraser and clean it up. You will notice that mine have gone inside the eye. That does not look natural. So I'm going to draw with my eraser and clean it up. Again, you can even use a number 2 pencil eraser and clean it up. And now draw back into the eyelashes if you need to. If you got really, really long and you didn't want them long, is draw back into the lashes and clean them up. Very carefully take, and notice I use a brush, but if you lay your hand, you can actually smear them longer and you may not want that. Basic eyelash. Now, that would be my right eye. I'm going to move to my left eye. Doing the same thing. Render with my pencil. Don't be afraid to move your book around. And notice here, I'm beginning to curve. My curve goes back to the middle, straight up and down. My curve on this edge curves to the middle. Step 2, take your blender stick and do a rub. That rub helps give you some thickness. Step 3, wispily put in some little individual hairs. But again, you cannot count one by one because you've added the thickness. Then take your eraser and clean up. Notice how by putting that little eyelid line in, that would be very difficult to put in after you did eyelashes. So that's why it's important to do that. And now I call these a traditional set of eyelashes. Now to go with the eyebrows. The basic eyebrows, it's the exact same steps. I like to start by putting in just a really light line, showing me, kind of keeping me on track. It's kind of a very soft curved line, kind of a boomerang sort of shape, like this. Render with your pencil, and this line, of course, is just going to keep me on track. I'm going to render with my pencil, noticing that oftentimes many of the eyebrow hairs grow from the bottom to the top. Notice now that I'm going to turn my book because that works well with my hand. Now I'm going to just simply rub. Step 3 would be to go in with my pencil point and maybe put some of these little baby hairs, individual hairs. And step 4 would be to clean up. Sometimes I get a little wild in there and I need to clean it up. So go ahead and also do this brow. I will show it again. It's a little more harder for me because I'm right-handed. So do not be afraid to move your book. You may even, for me, it's easier for me to move my book upside down just because of I like to keep my hand and my pencil steady. Looking to see if I'm matching. Looks like I need a little bit more in here. Then do the rub. Step 3 then would be to go in with my pencil point. Put any little baby hairs. Step 4, if I see that I've got some hairs that are not in the right place, go and erase. And that gives me my eyebrows. So now I need to do my lower eyelashes. My lower eyelashes often will come from this lower edge, and again, they're very small. So I start in the middle, going up and down. These swing back toward the middle. And again, all of them are fairly small. That is step 1. Notice that a lot of times you will see the little inside of the eye there. Step 3 then is to put in any little wispy baby hairs. Step 4 would be to go and erase if I got a little out of hand, or maybe these here are longer and they naturally don't look longer than the middle. So clean up with your eraser. So I would call this a traditional set of eyelashes and eyebrow. I'm now going to do the same with my matching eye. Eyebrows can take a variety of shapes or angles depending on the expression of the face. On the second set of eyes, basically what I want you to practice are some eyelashes that are more sweeping eyelashes. And you'll see this often, and that is that the eyelashes sweep again. I like to render. Sometimes you'll even see the eyelashes sweep from here. Steps are exactly the same. So, render, rub, put in individual hair, and this would be more of a sweeping lash. And again, sometimes you will see them sweep all the way from here so I render, I rub, so I draw with my blender stick, And then I go in with my baby hairs. And the last step would be to clean up. And notice here that I get a little extreme out there. Maybe I don't want that. So clean up with your eraser, draw back in with your eraser. And that would be a sweeping eyelash. So on page 61, your first set of eyes have both top lashes, bottom lashes, and eyebrows, kind of a traditional eye. Your bottom eyes, I'd like you simply to practice the swinging eyelashes. Now I'd like you to turn back to your drawing of page 50, or actually page 60. So on page 60, we have two sets of eyes with our eyelids. And on each set of eyes, I would like you to do a traditional set of eyelashes, top and bottom with brows, and a sweeping set of eyelashes with eyebrows, top and bottom eyelashes. And feel free to go ahead if you'd like to watch me. I'm going to do what I just previously demonstrated. I render. I rub, which means I just thicken up the base, pull some of that lead. I then go in with wispy eyelashes, and there's one set of eyelashes done. The bottom are much, much smaller. I'm going to start here in the middle. I'm going to render my little tiny baby lashes, curve gently back toward the middle. I'm going to rub. Step 3, put in some individuals, and then erase if I got messy. Now I'm going to add an eyebrow. So my eyebrow, I'm just going to do a basic sweeping eyebrow. So I draw myself a guideline. While I'm at it, I'm going to draw this guideline as well. And again, I render. I turn my book so that I don't have to move my hand too much. There's step 1. Step 2 is to rub. Step 3 is to put in some fine details. And step 4 is to clean it up if I got some hairs out of place. Now I'm going to go with the next eye. Swing back toward the middle. Swing back toward the middle. Step 1. Step 2 is to rub. Step 3 is to put any baby hairs. You absolutely don't want to be able to count your eyelashes. Step 4 is to go in and erase if I need to do cleanup. Now, I'm going to go with the eye, or actually I'll go with the bottom. The bottom, again, it's almost like I'm just picking out by rendering, curving back to the middle. I'm rubbing. Step 3, baby hairs. Step 4, clean up. Maybe I get a lash or two that's a little bit longer. And there's my my left eye. Now I'm going to do my brow. Now notice I find it easier with my hand. And I don't have to move my hand, but instead I move my book as I lay down some eyebrow. I rub. Now I go in with my baby hairs, noticing that I didn't get this one quite as thick as this one. And then in with an eraser. So there finishes one set of eyes on page 60. Now I'm going to move on, and the difference here is I'd like you to put sweeping lashes. So to put sweeping lashes, I'm going to go like that. Step 1. Step 2, I'm going to rub. Step 3, I'm going to put in some individual hairs. Because I've rubbed though, I've thickened up and it looks more natural. Step 4 is to go back in and erase if I got a little out of hand. Going to add my lowers. Lowers, it's almost like I'm just pulling lead out of that line of the bottom of my eye by rendering. Step 2 is to slightly rub. Step 3 is to add some baby hairs. Step 4 is to erase if I need to erase. And my last set of eyelashes. Again, just because of the way your hand naturally moves, it may be easier for you to move your book slightly. For me it is. Again, I'm going to go with sweeping eyelashes. Notice that my sweeping eyelashes tend to cover part of my eyeball in there. I'm going to rub. Go with my pencil point. And then I'm going to erase. I see that in here, maybe now putting in the lower, again, I'm just going to render very small. Eyelashes tend to be biggest in the middle here and smaller at the edges. So I'm going to render. Step 3, put in any individuals. Step 4, cleanup. And there are sweeping. So hopefully you can tell the difference between traditional, go up and down here in the middle, and sweeping tend to go over to the edges. Feel free now to put in, maybe you want to try some different eyebrows. Maybe you want more of a surprise look. So you want to put something more drastic. The process is still the same. Render. Rub. Curve. Put your baby hairs. And then clean up. So you could notice in this one, there's a little, slightly more of a curvature there. So again, I just put my guideline in. On this one, I need to turn my book to get my hand to work more naturally. Render my lid. Rub, thicken it up. Go in, put your baby hairs. And then sometimes I need to clean up to get them to match a little better. You decide. So on page 60, you should have 2 sets of eyes with eyelashes on the top and bottom of each eye and an eyebrow to go with each eye as well.